Racial segregation, the alleged long-deceased comrade of discrimination, is still alive and well in the United States today. Despite the insurgencies, the sufferings, the devaluation endured by the victimized groups in the earlier days, and the massive sacrifices made by the great advocates such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks, segregation never truly ended. It only took a subtle approach in its dealings. We still see a strong hand of segregation active in the United States as it perplexes the education, healthcare, and wealth acquisition of individuals in certain minority groups, thus recycling the same agony, adversity, and mediocrity as in the days of Jim Crow, yet in a nice and subtle way. Not to discredit the strives of the legendary proponents of minority equality such as Malcolm X and the likes, their efforts did not only sound the need for a change, but it also undeniably established the change. As a result of their splendid work, African Americans and minority groups have experienced a drastic drift in their idiosyncrasy and standard of living, as they now enjoy equality and fair treatment as human beings also created in the image of God. This is a widely affirmed phenomenon, even to individuals in minority groups themselves. As in this evidence, about 6 in 10 black adults say that the care they received most recently was either excellent or very good, and another say it was good, and about half say their out-of-pocket cost for that care was about what is fair. It is therefore no doubt that there has been a considerable change in the minority equality equation by virtue of the resilience of the great who paved the way forward. However, time still reveals that even though the equality is present, it is only present to a certain degree. The non-white population in the United States still experiences realities that are strongly non-antithetical to what existed during the days and even before the days of the advocates. Take into consideration the schools, where white and non-white students exist in the similitude of water and oil by being almost completely immiscible. This atrocious method has led to schools largely dominated only by specific races. Found in this evidence, approximately 60% of black and Hispanic public school students attended schools where 75% or more of the students were students of color. As a result of this, students are robbed of social flexibility because they are only aware of the culture common to their sphere and ignorant to other cultures. This brutally dismantles their ability to socialize, to communicate, to build strong relationships with other groups. School segregation thrusts even further by reinforcing discrimination where minority-dominated schools receive less funding relative to their white peers. According to this evidence, schools in predominantly non-white districts receive $23 billion less funding each year than schools in majority white districts, which means they receive $2,200 less per student per year. Given such a standing, schools of color are unable to obtain efficient resources for teaching, hire top-notch teachers, and provide advanced courses, hence making the educational quality of colored learners lopsided. Segregation also frustrates their ability to create and sustain wealth, making minorities prone to poverty, financial insecurity, and pressure. Given such a status quo, living a comfortable life talkless of the American dream is solitarily a fantasy that flourishes only in the world of dreams. In this graph, it shows the median wealth of white, black, and Hispanic families from the year 2019 to 2023. The blue line represents that of white families, the green, the Hispanic families, and the orange is for black families. The difference is wide, isn't it? You see, the main contributor to net worth is income and profit, which is exclusively gotten by being an employee or an entrepreneur, with the best of the two being an entrepreneur owning an employer firm. Segregation dominates the ecosystem of the employer firm industry, where minority groups own less than 20% of the existing firms, and the rest being white-owned. Found in this evidence, there were a total of 5,771,292 employer firms, of which only 2.3% were black-owned, even though black people comprise 14.2% of the country's population. A comprehension of this analysis therefore begs the question: if the black population is also educated, of working age, and in the same country under the same conditions as the white population, why then therefore is the difference so wide? The answer to this question was answered or demonstrated during the COVID-19 pandemic, where because of the lockdowns and the cessation of activities, small businesses were crashing at an exponential rate. And as such, the government responded to this problem by offering a paycheck protection program loan known as the PPP loan. Minority-owned businesses were discriminated during the loaning program. As presented in this data, 27% of businesses in the white majority congressional districts received PPP loans, compared to 17% of businesses in districts where minorities make up more than half of the population. Without the loan during such a tedious time, minority businesses were likely to fail, thus why their numbers are exceptionally low today. And if by some miracle they did not fail, they become what is known as a survival business. A survival business is a simple business that invests little or nothing into the business itself, hires little or no employees, and grows very slowly or not at all, so as to sustain the business and then remaining small. Notwithstanding the adversities caused by segregation to minority groups, it remains true that an acknowledgement and a realization of a problem is the first step towards a solution. As Malcolm X once said, I for one believe that if you give people a thorough understanding of what confronts them, they will create their own program. It is therefore imperative that unto this insight, add resilience, add grit, and add faith to stand and victor this battle, lest the sacrifices of the greats be in vain. Subtle segregation.